All right, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing out there? I am Frank Red. It's another edition of the In the Dungeon Show. I want to thank you for joining me in conversation. I really appreciate it. We got a lot to talk about, and I'm excited to do so with you. Please join me in conversation by putting your thoughts in the chat. If you want to join the program in that regard, if you want to sit back and listen and just kind of check us out, that's good as well. Hit the subscribe button. And hit the like button. It certainly helps the show. I'm trying to get better at promoting, but most of my time and my energy is focused on putting together the best show that I can and trying to entertain and just conversate with one of, I think it's the best audience in the podcast game. So thank you for joining me on a consistent basis. I really appreciate it. Once again, my name is Frank Red, and this is the In the Dungeon Show. And it really helps us when you hit the like button and you subscribe to the show. A lot to talk about, and we're going to get to it after I give you the rundown. We've got a lot of great folks holding on already, which I really appreciate. The San Francisco 49ers went down to Tampa Bay and lost a tough game on the road, 30-19. And that's one thing, to lose to a good Tampa Bay team. I don't think there's any shame in that. The 49ers were competitive for most of the game, but they lost their future Hall of Fame linebacker in Fred Warner, presumably for the rest of the season. I was happy to see him in relatively good spirits after the game, sitting on the truck, having broken my ankle before. I understand how painful that is and how debilitating it is. And it's going to take Fred Warner a while to get back, but he will. And it was good to see Tatum Bethune, his replacement, come in, the second-year linebacker out of Florida State, have 10 tackles. So he's not Fred Warner. It changes the horizons a little bit in the minds of fans and possibly the coaching staff. But from a player, you just got to show up. You got to play every game like it's the most important game of your career. The 49ers take on the Atlanta Falcons next week in a crucial game. They're 4-2. They're still in great shape. They're undefeated in their division. So, you know what? Just come out and ball out. Next man up. That has to be the mentality. They will also get a lot of players back that we will talk about tonight. But give Baker Mayfield and his boys a lot of credit, because at some point they seemingly could do whatever they wanted to do on the 49ers this afternoon. So if you want to talk about that game, feel free. Mac Jones turned the ball over a couple of times, but still put up big numbers. Another 300-plus game in terms of yardage. No touchdowns, a couple of picks. But he did a lot of good things. So I'm pretty impressed by that. His running mate from New England, Kendrick Bourne, continues to play well. 5 catches, 142 yards, doing his thing. And as I said before, the defense might lack the star power that it had at the beginning of the year. You lose a Bosa, you lose a Warner. But these guys are showing up. And a lot of these players are really, really young. So the ebbs and flows of adversity is going to be something that they have to deal with very, very effectively. I'm happy that they have Robert Saleh as a defensive coordinator, a guy who I know is not going to let these guys give up. The good thing is, from an offensive perspective, the 49ers are solid. Their replacement players have played better than folks thought, but they have some reinforcements coming. Ricky Pearsall didn't play. He's going to be back. George Kittle might be back the next game. Presumably, Brandon Ayuk at some point will come back. So, 49er fans, don't fret. Things are going to be okay. So we can talk about the Niners. We can talk about the NFL in general. Quietly, as you guys know, I got my eyes on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And things could not have worked out better for the Steelers at this point because it's not pretty football, but it's winning football. I think it's what Mike Tomlin envisioned when he decided to hook his wagon up to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is playing good football. All right. We got some more topics I'm going to put out there, but let's get the show started and go on and talk to the great Vicky. Hi, Frank. I'm feeling really sad about the 49ers. Injuries happen, but that one is brutal. Warriors are looking good. It would have been nice if they won tonight. Thanks for having a show tonight. Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for joining me in conversation. Andrew the GOAT. The Warriors really suck without Curry. We are so bad. Yo, you're probably disappointing. I mean, you're probably disappointed when it's 85 and sunny, right? Not a cloud in the sky. You know, at the beach, people bringing you free drinks. You're probably, you know what? There needs to be more ice in my drink, right? You're one of those guys. The Warriors are so bad of a team without Curry or Jimmy. They lost to the Lakers in preseason. Andrew, what is the world coming to, man? They lost to the Lakers in preseason without their top players. Wow. This shows tonight that the Warriors bench is terrible. And the Warriors losing to the Lakers in preseason. Oh, my God. I'll come back to you. I'm going to give you a break. Vicky says surgery this week for Warner. Probably. But I think one of the things that you have to look out for when you have a broken ankle, which I've had, is you got to let the inflammation come down before you can actually do surgery. So they might do surgery, but I think they want to treat it to make sure that the swelling goes down some. I don't know what his injury was, but when I cracked my ankle and had it dangling like this, calcium secreted to the injury, which is, the human body is amazing. When you break a bone, calcium deposits, all that milk you drink immediately goes to that injury to protect it. And I still remember that feeling to this day. It's like this cold rush goes over your body and your body starts to secrete calcium. It is amazing. The human body is amazing. It really is. Don't go through what I went through to experience that. Take my word for it. The Great Key says, what's up, Frank? Besides the old line looking overmatched on our defense playing confused a lot without Fred, I like the fight in this team. No quit. I agree with you. And Keys, that's really about coaching. That's what coaches do. That's why coaches have a major impact. That's why they can really keep locker rooms together, or they can lose locker rooms. You hear Mike McDaniel might be in trouble down in Miami. Some other programs kind of slip. You see Cincinnati kind of unraveling. You never hear that in Pittsburgh. You never hear that. Because they have a personality type in Mike Tomlin that is really focused on keeping the locker room together. You never hear that with Andy Reid either. You are not going to hear that with Mike Vrabel in New England. Coaches, not just the head coach, but all coaches are really, really important in terms of managing a team. You look at the Golden State Warriors. You might hear stuff. It's only a couple of players, but by and large, the Golden State Warriors have a pretty professional locker room. Baker is no joke, Vicky says. He could be the MVP if he continues to play this well. Yeah, no question about it. I mean, Baker throws a heavy ball too. I mean, that dude is accurate and he throws a heavy ball. So he puts it on you. If you get in your reps in as a wide receiver, there's no flutter with the ball. The ball is coming to you with heat. All you got to do is catch it. So I'm happy for Baker. I think he has a great offensive line. He's playing in warm weather. He has very skillful players. And he just showed you, I can deal with adversity and I can come out on the other side and show real leadership, which is what he's doing right now, because at his previous stops, things didn't go so well. So I admire him. I definitely do, no doubt. And he is definitely one of the leading MVP candidates in the NFL because he has a really good team. Great running game. I mean, Bucky Urban didn't even play. Rashad White was running all over the 49ers. I'm trying to get your name together. Dezarrillo. Dezarrillo, is that right? Help me out. He says, let me get this right. Okay. Yo, no, Pods was balling. What did Pods have? Pods had 23 tonight and actually looked good doing it. Let me get your question in there so we can set it up. What do you think about Pods? I like Pods just playing basketball. The animated Pods, the guy who has to show expression when he makes a routine play, or open jump shot. I don't really like that Pods. I like the guy who's contributed to success, who walks around with his chip on his shoulder. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But just go out and play because you are he's in the perfect situation. He's playing around Hall of Famers. He's playing for a coach that clearly has his back. He's playing for one of the best franchises, if not the best franchise in the NBA. Real lucky. Got a great management staff and Bill Duffy. It's all there for him. So just go play. Just go prove that you are a NBA player because he hasn't really proved that yet. He's on the cusp, I think, of doing that. Year 3. But yeah, man, I'm rooting for Pods. So you can call me Days. All right, Days. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. If you are, yeah, thank you, Days. Key says, seems unfair. Not only NFL contracts are not guaranteed, but a lot of players have clauses that they have to be active to get paid. That's why Jennings was playing with a plethora of injuries today. I did not know that. Wow. I did not know that. Let me read that again. It says, I mean, the contract's got to be guaranteed. I mean, his salary. But I guess some of the incentives you're talking about, because his contract is guaranteed if he's on the 53-man roster. But you're saying he has to be active. I'm sure there's some language in there. I'm sure you're right. But to what extent, the small language in this contract applies to him playing, I don't know. You seemingly know more than I do. Thank you for that. All right, Dave says, do you have a problem with the amount of opportunity and minutes Pods gets? Because to me, he seems like he has high IQ and there's that word again, connector. In my opinion, he is a better fit than Kuminga. All right. So nobody even heard of the word connector, 3 years ago. Nobody was using that word. They almost invented that word for not just Pods, but I think players like him. And to me, it's simple. Do you know how to play basketball or not? There's anything called, well, I'm a connector. No, you make the right play. Make the right basketball play. And Pods clearly knows how to play basketball. And again, I don't root against players. I root for players. But his rope at times seemingly is a lot longer than other players. And I'm not quite sure why. As a head coach, you have the right to play who you want to play and be held accountable for the results. So, I wouldn't compare Pods to Kuminga. They play two totally different positions. They're on two totally different trajectories. Kuminga just signed a contract that's going to pay him $25 million this year. Pods, I don't want to jinx the guy, but if he ever makes $25 million in 1 year, I would be really shocked. Okay. So, the fact that Pods is playing in the NBA is incredible based on his journey. Didn't even play his first year at Illinois. He goes out to Santa Clara, hooks up with Herb Sendek, one of the best coaches in college basketball, and things happen for him. I'm happy for Pods, man. but I want to see him earn all of his minutes. The Warriors have a lot of depth in the backcourt now. They got seasoned pros. They got Seth Curry when he ultimately becomes eligible. DeAnthony Milton. Go beat DeAnthony Milton out. I want to see that because that's going to be hard to do. But he'll have his opportunities, man. No, I'm a Pod supporter. But I wouldn't compare him to Kuminga. I want Kuminga to play for the Warriors or anybody. Did you see that dunk tonight? The play of the game in the Lakers game? Did you see that? Maybe you didn't. Next level stuff. Key says, yes, his raise was all connected to playing time and production. Puts the player in a tough spot. Yeah, and that might even have something to do with the number of plays that he got on the field. Because when he got caught, I don't know what, was it offensive pass interference when he got caught for a pick, or he did something wrong, and I think that was the impetus for the sideline tape to tape that he had with Kyle Shanahan, because he didn't play. I mean, Bowen certainly got more snaps than he did today, and maybe that's because of health, maybe it's because of production, but Juwan Jennings, as you have stated, clearly needs to be on the field to make plays to get the money that he certainly wants. I think he deserves, but you got to play. That's his contract. Vicky says Pods did even go to Santa Cruz. Did he go to Santa Cruz? Maybe for like a rehab assignment. I don't think he ever had like a stint in Santa Cruz. No, he didn't. I don't think he did. Noel Moon. How you doing, Noel Moon? Thank you for joining me on the program. Appreciate you. Do you ever see Moody turning into a starter in this system, or will he always be a rotational role player? The quintessential starter? No, I don't. No, I don't. But that really doesn't bother me here with Golden State, because they're one of the best franchises in the league. They've won championships. Do I wish that he would take the opportunity when it's given to him and leave no doubt in Kerr's mind that he is someone who cannot be removed from the starting lineup? I wish he would do that. But in fairness to Kerr, Moody sometimes can go on stretches when he's not playing well. I hate that, because really good players in the NBA, they have bad games. They don't have bad stretches. That's why they're pros. That's why they're top-notch players. Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Anthony Edwards, Luke, no. They don't have bad stretches. They have bad games. Draymond Green doesn't have bad stretches defensively. So I love Moody. Moody is, he's like Dr. J without Dr. J status. The type of humanitarian, the type of person that he is. I really admire him, particularly at such a young age. This guy does everything right. You know, you hear him talk, he sounds like he's like the head deacon at a church. But this is basketball, and this is a bloodthirsty sport environment. And when you get your opportunity, you can't let it go. You got to take advantage of it. So maybe this is going to be the year that he does that, because I'm a big fan of Moses Moody. Dave says, Kuminga dunk was impressive. I also like that Kuminga is playing more within the offense. He has been making the right passes. I still don't think you can run your offense solely with Kuminga isolations. I agree with you. You seemingly know basketball, Dave. And that's the thing that I love about Kuminga right now, because clearly somebody is in his ear, probably his teammates, and they're telling him straight up, yo, dude, you got your $25 million. You're either going to be a star here with the Warriors, or you're going to be a star somewhere else. This is how you're going to get your money. And the kids listening. Some guys never listen. It seems like Kuminga is listening because he's playing right now how Steve Kerr wants him to play. Steve Kerr looks at him like some type of hybrid of like Scottie Pippen. Or I can't think of the guy from UNLV who played in Phoenix that he always compares him to. But I mean, he's 6'8" with a 7-inch wingspan. Kuminga should be one of the top defenders in the NBA. That's number one. If you are a top 10 defender in the NBA, if you start or not, you're a $25 to $30 million player. In a different system, when you just want somebody to get buckets, Kuminga's going to average 20 points a game. Now, he had 5 turnovers tonight, but he had 6 assists, and he had 13 points. As long as he's making the right play, and after 5 years being in this system, he probably has like a master's degree on his wall. You can't be in the Golden State Warriors system for 5 years and not take a tremendous leap intellectually as it relates to basketball. So Kuminga is on the cusp, I believe, of doing big things as long as he doesn't get outside of himself. So yeah, I would agree with you, Dave. He's playing some good ball right now. Don't look at the shooting percentages, look at the plays. He's making a lot of winning plays right now. I love it. Keys says, I believe the Warriors are deeper and better than last year. Who do you believe should start next to Steph? I'm going to say Pods. I'm going to say Pods because DeAnthony Milton's not going to play, I don't believe, game 1. If DeAnthony Milton was ready to go from the start, I would say DeAnthony Milton. I think he's a better player. To space the floor, I can see Buddy Hield starting because Buddy Hield is, he's a quintessential streaky player. You don't want to lose him. He's a rhythm player. He's a confident guy. So I think Steve Kerr has some latitude and some flexibility there. He can start Pods. He can start Buddy Hield. Let's look at the starting 5 for a second because Moody is there too. Al Horford starting, Draymond, Jimmy Butler, Stephen. Yo, man, I wouldn't have a problem with Moody starting. Now they say he's really not a guard. I want my best 5 players out there. Moody has evolved as a defender. He's a good defensive player. As long as he's in his rhythm, making those shots, put Moody out there. I think Moody should start. And the Warriors are deeper. The Warriors won 48 games last year. They were 48-34. I have the Warriors this year winning 50. 50. Vicky, you've been saying that for a long time. After watching this team play, coming off the bench with the likes of Milton, Kuminga, Guy Santos, Post, this is a 50-win team. And they're better positioned to win a playoff series this year than they were last year. I think last year's opening round victory over Houston was somewhat miraculous. I think the Warriors will be the favorite in the first round this year. So I like the team. They're the smartest team in the NBA. They have depth. Guys know that they got to fight for their minutes. Trace Jackson Davis, a lot of Warrior fans don't realize how valued Trace Jackson Davis is around the NBA. People want this guy. They just want to see him play hard all the time. They don't want to get a trick bag. But Trace Jackson Davis has a lot of talent, and there's a lot of money out there for him. Vicky says, Moody has to stay healthy. He can play. But you just said what it was going to say. Okay, love Moody. Yeah, no. Everybody loves Moody. That's why the Warriors paid him. The Warriors didn't have to pay Moody. The Warriors showed confidence and respect in Moody, gave him a 3-year, $39 million deal. He makes $13 million a year. Now he got the right agent in Rich Paul, but that was kind of that, that hand clap from the Warriors saying, you know what, you're the type of person that we want in our organization. We trust you. We believe in you. And he got paid. The business side of it also says Moody has a very tradable contract. So all of a sudden, when you combine Moody's contract with Jonathan Kuminga's contract, all of a sudden you got a $40 million player. Then you throw in another guy, maybe you throw Pods in there. All of a sudden, you're at $44, $45 million. So then those names like the Giannis's of the world, those conversations start to become real at that point. The Warriors can go big game hunting. They know that. So while they wanted to pay Moody, they also wanted to be strategic because they knew that's a contract that they could bundle with another contract, and the other team on the other side is not going to look at Moody and go, whoa, we don't want that guy. No, they say, yo, we will take him. So it's all business. Andrew the GOAT, I don't care if it's preseason or not. I'm not happy with the Warriors losing to the Lakers tonight. Well, let me ask you a semi-serious question. Have you played sports? I assume you have. Have you ever had a game in which you played your tail off and still came up short? I mean, how did you feel? Did you just go stomping away because you didn't win? That's not what sports is all about. Particularly in the preseason, sports is about evaluation. All right? So when you look at the game, talk the game. Tell me, what did you see from the Warriors tonight? What did you see from individual players? What didn't you see from them? Because I like the Warriors. The Warriors are playing good basketball. Thank you, Days. I appreciate you. Sean Marion was the guy Kerr want JK to be. And if I'm JK, I'm like, I can hear the Scottie Pippen comparisons, but Sean Marion, no. Kuminga has more talent than Sean Marion. Will he have the career that Sean Marion have? I don't know. Sean Marion's a 4-time All-Star. If my memory serves me correctly, Sean Marion was, I believe, Sean Marion was the 9th pick overall. 9th pick overall. I don't know why I can remember dates and names, and I'm a basketball historian, so I know, I remember a bunch of facts and stuff. I guess that's why I'm pretty good at this job. I don't know, but yeah, Sean Marion was drafted number 9th overall. I do remember that. Check it out and tell me I'm wrong. Noel, who will make more of an impact this year? Quentin Post or Trayce Jackson-Davis? I'm gonna say Quentin Post, but nothing wrong with that, because the skills that Trayce Jackson-Davis has, some of his teammates also have those skills, i.e. Al Horford. Even with Al shooting outside, he's a really good low post defender. Draymond is a really good low post defender, even at this advanced stage of his career. This is year, 13 or 14 for Draymond? Draymond's still a top-notch defender. So I think it isn't how big Trayce Jackson's impact is. The question is, will he play well when he's called upon? That's the question. Because there have been times in which seemingly mentally he wasn't there. In the few minutes that he has, he wasn't there. Now, he was given a lot of rope last year until they finally sat him down and went with Post. And I mean, drop passes, missed dunks, things that should not happen. I'm going to give you one example. If I'm coaching Trayce Jackson-Davis for the whole summer, this is I come up with these little drills when I'm coaching players. I would throw softballs, not hard. I would throw softballs and tennis balls at him, and he could only catch the ball with his right hand. Right? I would do this is a drill I just came up right now. I would stand under the basket right, or in the lane, I would put up like 2 or 3 inch cones, right, maybe 4 or 5 in a row, and I would have him simultaneously jump over the cones and catch the ball with his right hand. Catch it. I wouldn't even say dunk it, just catch the ball and pass it back to me. That is a motor skill that I think he needs to learn because his equilibrium is off on the right side. He's not very comfortable using his right hand. This is a guy that should be catching passes on the right side with his right hand, smashing on people every time. But I don't coach him, so I don't know what's happening. But when I evaluate his talent, if this dude ever developed the right hand and started to shoot above 70% from the free throw line, he might make $15, $20 million a year. Quentin Post has to show that he can get a rebound. I don't care how many threes he makes. He has to cut down on his fouls, and he has to get some power, strongman rebounds. That's basketball. 7-footers shooting consistently from 27 feet, that's not basketball. Why? Why do I say that? Because the best teams in the league guard. They don't care how tall you are, they guard. So if they're going to guard you from 25 feet from the basket, you got to be in a triple threat position, head fake, attack the outside or inside shoulder, power pass the player, and explode to the basket. That's what you got to do. I haven't seen Post do that yet. Daz says, what is your ideal starting 5? And what do you think about lineups consistent of Dre at the 5? I think Dre's done with that. Draymond should not be starting at the 5 anymore. There were times last year when he was completely overwhelmed. And I didn't like seeing that because Draymond has never, and he will never back down from anybody. But he's not that big. I've stood next to Draymond Green. Literally one of the most unique players in the history of the NBA. His career, I don't think that we as fans right now can truly appreciate Draymond Green as a basketball player. We can't, because Draymond has done so many things that has never been done in basketball before. I mean, this dude legitimately played center against some of the best players in the league. When you look at, I'm going to tell you one of the most incredible stats. Now, I didn't look at it last year, but I looked at it a couple years ago. Right now, I would say if you look at who has the most wins over the past, I'm going to say 13 years, it has to be Stephen Curry and Draymond Green. They got to be in the top 5 or top 7. Now, I'm not I'm not a stat geek, but I compute things in my mind and I watch the games, and I have a level of awareness. But if you're out there, you want to check that. Which players have won more games over the past 13 years? I guarantee you, Stephen Curry and Draymond Green are probably on that list. That's what it's all about. It's not about anything else except winning. These guys, these coaches, they're all millionaires. They got houses on top of houses. They got so much money, I'm sure it's boring at times because it don't mean anything. They yearn and they look for gyms to play. That's why Pod's, going to the Valkyries game wasn't really that strange to me because he needed that juice. He needed that. You see Stephen Curry's workouts. Al Horford, future Hall of Famer, 19th year. You think he needs money? Nah, he still wants the juice. He still wants to be in an environment where he can win a championship. A friend of mine a couple of days ago, I got a friend who I go to the movies with, and we're so polar opposites in terms of our interests. So when we come together to go to the movies, she'll oftentimes, like, we'll go out eat after the movies, and she'll bring like all of these articles and ask me about this stuff. And she brought some pictures of Jimmy Butler's, my friend. She brought me some pictures of Jimmy Butler's house in San Diego, where the Warriors supposedly had a mini camp, right? I mean, straight out of like, I don't know, Architect Digest or one of these types of magazines. That's Jimmy Butler's house in San Diego. Unbelievable. So it's exciting. It's exciting. My ideal five, okay. Draymond Green, Al Horford, Jimmy Butler, Stephen Curry, and we kind of talked about it a little bit. There's some versatility. You got Pods and you got Moody. I think knowing Kerr, I think he's going to go with Pods. I just think he will, because of that I'm a connector mentality that he really believes in. I think Moody should start personally, but because he's a better defender. But I think Pods is probably going to start. Vicky, you had said 51st, and now you're upped it to 60? You put a lot of pressure on your team, by the way. You know that, right? Andrew to go. The Warriors defense was not good. Bad energy the whole game on defense. They lost this game. They couldn't get a rebound or get a stop. But the Lakers were 0-2, right? So give the Lakers some credit. The Lakers were playing at home. They were 0-2. They needed to win this game. Noel says, do you think the Warriors have the players in place to replace Kevon Looney's production? I admire Looney, but Looney is not as good as Al Horford. Al Horford at 39 can give you, I think, what Looney gave you and more versatility, because he can still shoot. And like I said before, and you probably wasn't listening last week, I don't know, but I saw Al Horford a month ago at the Hall of Fame event back east in Springfield, Massachusetts, and I was at a function that he was at, and I stood next to him. Al Horford is legit 6'10". I didn't know he was that tall. He is legit 6'10", and he has arms the size of a 7-footer. So Al Horford is long. I think the Warriors actually got taller by getting Al Horford. For some of you all who don't know, Al Horford's father, his name was Tito Horford. And he was 7'1". Nowhere near as good as Al. Nowhere near as good as Al. But, he played in the league a couple of years, was the #1 player in high school, but he was 7'1". Al Horford's going to do great things for the Warriors. Trust me on that. Keys says, I believe the Warriors should really focus on letting JK develop into being our second leading player, getting shots. I love our system, but in the playoffs, we need some one-on-one offense. Well, you make that statement, and I don't know if I agree with that, because what the Warriors need is to stay healthy. Because what the Warriors have, Keys, is they have a bunch of shot makers. If you got the lineup out there, DeAnthony Milton, Stephen Curry, Draymond, Al Horford, Jimmy Butler, you have the mid-range taken care of. You have the perimeter taken care of. Let's go back to last year in the playoffs. I believe, and I think most people believe, if Stephen Curry doesn't get hurt, they beat Minnesota. I believe that. This team right now, the Warriors, versus what did Minnesota do last year to get better? What did they do in the offseason? Nothing. Winning Dillingham is maybe it's going to be their backup point guard. Conley's a year older. Randall's a good player, obviously. Anthony Edwards has to take a step up for this team to take a step up. Because Gobert, I mean, the returns on that investment are shrinking. I'm not saying he's a scrub. I'm not saying he doesn't matter on defense, but they take him out of the game a lot. Now, you might say they have what's got Nigel, Reed, Nas Reed. They got Nas Reed. They got a good team, but I think the Warriors are better. So I like this team. I like the Warriors team. Vicky says, Post and TJD still look lost in the court. They have some room to grow. There's absolutely no doubt about that. No doubt. I have a problem with Trace Jackson Davis' energy. His awareness sometimes can drift, but I have more of a problem with his lack of energy at times. There are plays that have to be made all the time that he doesn't make. I mean, how many times do we see Stephen Curry or somebody else dime him up with a surefire dunk and he dropped the ball out of bounds or he'll miss a dunk? I mean, come on, man. Come on. The other bugaboo to me with Trace Jackson Davis is he doesn't shoot over 70% from the free throw line. If you're going to be a primetime player, an interior player, you're going to get fouled. How could you go to the free throw line and make 1 out of 2? That's a turnover. The opposition is like, heck, do you know what out of that guy? He's not going to make he's not going to make the free throw. So that's what I want to see. I want to see Trace Jackson Davis shooting above 70% from the free throw line, preferably 75%, and making most of his layups. I mean, do you know if you do that, you make $15 to $20 million a year? Keep your eyes on James Wiseman, folks. He might have the last laugh. He might have the last laugh, ultimately. Andrew DeGo says, this game by the Warriors without Curry or Butler, Jimmy Butler, was unwatchable. Warriors energy. This whole game, our defense was terrible. You must be a fun person to date, man. By the way, I'm joking. All right, so don't take me serious. But you do have a negative perspective when it comes to the Warriors. The game is so big. Watch the game. Do you think Steve Kerr cared about winning this game? No. This is preseason. I'm surprised you're not talking about the New England Patriots when, week 1 or 2, you were crying, talking about how horrible they were. And what did I tell you? You still haven't said, Red, you're right yet. I'm waiting for that. I said, dude, you need to relax. The New England Patriots are good. They're getting better every week. That's your team. You don't even say anything about it. Harry, how you doing, Harry? Why don't we see elite post-up players anymore like Ewing, Barkley, Hakeem, and the Admiral? That's a question that infuriates me. And because I'm a bigger player. I played on the interior. A couple of things is happening. The level of coaching at the youth level is not as good. So where the best coaches used to be high school coaches. A lot of people don't believe that, but it's true. The best coaches used to coach high school basketball, youth basketball, and high school basketball. There were legends in high school. There are very few legendary high school coaches anymore. Players grow up today thinking that AAU is the most important aspect of their careers as youth, not high school basketball players. not high school teams. So that's one thing. Number two, we have adopted more of a European style of basketball. In Europe, from a young age, guys who are tall shoot the basketball all over the court. That wasn't the case in the United States. If you were tall in the United States, they put you inside. They worked on your footwork. You worked on hook shots. You worked on jump hooks. So the focus of how players are developed has changed. There's less contact on the exterior. There's a lot of big guys who are not tough. And there's a connotation about that they don't like, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it, but because it's the truth. But players today are not as physical as they were in the past. That's why guys like what's the guy who plays for the Detroit Pistons? His name is Isaiah. Is he Isaiah? Who went to the University of Washington? Big, strong dude. That's why his presence on the court is more impactful, because he's an old school type of player. The physicality of basketball, it has to come back around, because that's how you win. That's how you win. The last time the Lakers won a championship, even though it was in the bubble, they had Anthony Davis, they had Dwight Howard, right? They had big guys who were physical. And yeah, that's my take on it. Lack of coaching at the youth level, AAU, and video games are probably a part of it as well. And who doesn't want, I mean, big guys are growing up as children emulating Stephen Curry. Oh, I want to shoot outside. Think about this. My team, the New York Knicks, who should be in a position to win the championship for the first time in 50 years, 50 plus years. If Cat Towns had a business card, it wouldn't say, I'm the best interior player in the league. It would say, I'm the best shooting big man in the league. To me, there's something wrong with that. Because when the Knicks get to the playoffs, they get pummeled on the interior. Why? Because their big guy, Cat Towns, that's really not what he wants to do. Which is pretty sad, because he's as big as any big guy in the league. If Post plays minutes, I want to see 10 rebounds a game. You are so right. You are so right. Young Wes, how you doing, Young Wes? He says, I truly appreciate Draymond, and I think he's one of the best passing big men of all time. No doubt about it. Think about that. Draymond's one of the best interior passers the NBA's ever seen. He's one of the best post defenders the NBA has ever seen. He's one of the best competitors that the league has ever seen. And I think, some guys, when the game changed, they respect Draymond, but they find it hard to see him being as effective during a different era. I'm not saying they're wrong either. Having seen all of the players, I'm not saying that they're wrong. What I am saying about Draymond is in his era, he's dominated this game. And he has to be acknowledged for that. Was he a better defender than Dennis Rodman? No, he wasn't. Not in my opinion. And for those who were not fortunate enough to see Dennis Rodman play basketball, if Rodman played in today's game, he'd be the best. He'd be the best defender. He would average 15, 16 rebounds a game, and he'd be winning championships. Obviously, one of the best defenders of all time, too, no question. He's made 9 defensive all teams. I think, yeah, you're right. And will probably get his 10th this year. They were talking about on the broadcast tonight about that's his goal. He wants to make all defense again this year. And I would not bet against Draymond Green. Ben Wallace is in the Hall of Fame. Draymond Green is going to be in the Hall of Fame. Everybody knows that. The Eagles got embarrassed Thursday night. I believe their coach and QB are overrated and will be gone in a year or two. We talking about Jalen Hurts? Because I mean, Jalen Hurts is not the most aesthetically beautiful football player, but he's a winning football player. I think they need to be better teammates. I think they need to be better teammates. This idea that I don't care if they're stars or not, but they can be complaining and whining. I don't like that, man. Now, I didn't play wide receiver. I played tight end, but I didn't play wide receiver. I understand how if you're going full speed and you're wide open and you're not getting the ball, I understand how that can upset you. I think Jerry Rice would probably be upset if he was running all over the field and not getting the ball, and Terrell Owens and all of these guys, Michael Irvin, all of them. But what I would say is Jalen Hurts is not Joe Montana. He's not Troy Aikman. This is a guy who got benched in college by Tua. Jalen Hurts is probably 6'1 and a half, maybe 215, 220. Jalen Hurts is getting everything out of his ability. And I think all of us would say that he's a better pro quarterback than he was when he was in college. And when he was in college, he was an All-American, member of a national championship winning team. So I'm like, hey, we've seen Jalen Hurts play at the top of his game, literally slay the dragon. He's had a different offensive coordinator, seemingly every year. So I think Philly's going to put it together. But what's most glaring about that team is they're simply not running the football like they were last year. Now, the one thing that I'll say about Jalen Hurts, and I said this last week, Jalen Hurts, I believe, can develop a mindset where he sees himself more as a pocket passer as opposed to a playmaking quarterback. You've noticed the last couple of weeks, he's not running the football. He's not running as much anymore. And as a result, those windows that he's throwing in are much smaller. So, I don't understand the problem. He's already been paid. Even if the opposition has a spy on him, how many times have we seen Jalen Hurts beat spies? Like he can't run through linebackers, safeties, and cornerbacks? I don't understand it. I like the Eagles, quietly. Ricky says, Al Horford can make free throws. Looney missed a lot of free throws. Yeah. No, he's a better basketball player. Fosse, 60 wins gets you in first place in the Western Conference. Yeah, I think 60 is a big number. I think OKC will win 60 to 62. And I think they're the best team. The best team doesn't always win. But I think that they will win 60 to 62 games. I think that they'll win the most. I think the Warriors will win 50. At the top end, 52. At the bottom, 48. This is going on the premise that they're relatively healthy for the season. Vicky says, you're wrong, Red. It's all good. I don't think JK would be here by playoff time. You might be right. It would not. I don't think that would surprise most people. It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't. But what I would encourage everybody to do as an exercise is think of a $40 million player that would improve the Warriors? Is there a player out there? And that was a consternation that the Warriors had this past summer, because I don't think they had a problem moving Jonathan Kuminga to another team. The problem was the players that were offered to the Warriors, they didn't like. I'm not so sure that mid-season there's a player who makes somewhere between $25 and $40 million that they are going to be in love with. I don't know who that player is. The only player that really makes sense to me is Giannis. He's the only player. Nobody else makes sense. You think Steve Kerr wants Anthony Cat Towns? No. I don't think he does. Young West says, Trey Jackson-Davis needs to take a page out of his dad's book and be a tough enforcer type player, like his pops. I agree with you. I totally agree. Andrew says, let's talk about the referees. We're terrible in that Patriots and Saints game. They should be fired. I didn't see the game, so I can't comment on that, but I don't talk about officials unless I see something totally egregious. The Patriots won. You should be happy. Key says, how much better could Sean Livingston have been if he didn't suffer the horrific leg injury? All-star. All-star. That's how good he was. All-star. I'm going to tell you something. I couldn't have more respect for Sean Livingston than I do now. And I'm going to tell you why. Because we never know when adversity is going to strike. This is a kid who came out of high school, literally had LA eating out of his hands as a member of the Clippers, had a catastrophic knee injury. And what did he do? He reinvented himself. He deconstructed his entire game and built it into something else that was valuable and ultimately contributive to winning championships. I'm a big time Sean Livingston fan. Dave says, I believe year 3 Pods will elevate to a 15-point scorer, really, and be a solidified starter over Milton this season. I can't see Pods averaging 15 points at this stage of his career. If he did that, man, that's going to help the Warriors, and he's going to have a phenomenal year. I would say this. I would love to see Pods average more than 10 points a game, and I would love to see him shooting 46 or 47% from the field. I would love to see him shoot high 30s from 3, 37, 38, and I would love to see him shoot 80% from the free throw line. Those numbers to me would get him a contract 4 years, $65, $70 million. He would be making probably $15 million a year if he could put those types of numbers up. If Moody got $13 million, Pods would get 15. So if he could put those numbers up, that would be fantastic. Dave says, I honestly believe Pods is not a liability defensively, really. Like Buddy Hield, his effort on defense is very high, and I believe minutes with Pods will give our lineup more two-way versatility. I think when Pods stays within his bag, he's a decent defender because he tries. But I've seen Pods get toasted by some of the better guards in the NBA. I mean, when they see Pods guarding them, their eyes light up. Now, sometimes he goes out and he proves to these guys that he can defend his position. But have you ever seen Pods go for a steal? Bad things happen when Pods go for steals. When Pods is putting his body on the line, taking charges, getting new possessions for the Warriors, he's outstanding. I like that Pods on defense. He's not a naturally gifted defender. Buddy Hield's basketball IQ, while it's growing as a member of the Warriors, is not all that high. But he tries though. Buddy Hield's a much better athlete. He's bigger, got longer arms. But his IQ is not the highest. The Warriors are stacked with defenders. I also believe we have okay two-way versatility in our lineups. I would agree. I believe we have plenty of shot creation and point of attack defense. They're balanced. The Warriors are definitely balanced, and they're better than they were last year. We are just missing size. That's why Post needs to improve defensively so he can be more playable. If Post can become playable, the lineups we have will be big and have two-way versatility. Yeah, you're asking a lot. When I look at his body, does he look any bigger to you? Does he look stronger? He doesn't look bigger to me. He doesn't look stronger. Now, that doesn't mean that he can't be more aggressive. Because size sometimes is a false narrative. Just because you got big muscles or you're big and bulky, it doesn't mean that you're a tough player. You could be one of the softest players out there and literally exteriorly look like you are very imposing. That's not what it's about. Isaiah Thomas, the first Isaiah Thomas, Detroit Pistons Isaiah Thomas, was one of the most physical guards in the NBA during his era. I mean, he was a physical, tough guard who would go out and physically dominate other point guards. John Stockton, 6'1". I mean, like you walk past John Stockton, look like old leather that's been out in the woods for years, being rained on, and now it's hardened. That was John Stockton's body. Tough, strong. Vicky says, if the Warriors stay healthy, they can win 60. Chest ready, 10-ish. Not quite sure what that means. Okay, this is in relation to some of the players that I mentioned. Bobby Portis. I like Bobby Portis. He's a good player. I don't know if he helps the Warriors that much. I think Kern likes him. John Collins, he's on the Clippers now. He ain't going nowhere. Jeremy Grant, I think, has seen his best basketball pass him. Good guy, solid pro. I don't think he really moves the needle. Have been on my radar that we maybe can get to help the Warriors. I don't think anybody's going to complain with Bobby Portis playing 15, 20 minutes a game. I mean, he's a good player. Like I said, Collins is on the Clippers. He's not going anywhere. Jeremy Grant could be had, I believe, but do you want Jeremy Grant? I mean, Jeremy Grant is not a overly fundamentally sound. I mean, he isn't a real fundamentally sound player. He's a guy who worked himself into an NBA career after being drafted, I believe, in the second round, Syracuse. So he's done well for himself, but he's not the type of player that the Warriors really want. Day says, Pods averaged 15 on 43% shooting after Jimmy trade. So I think it's realistic for that to happen. 43% from field goal percentage? That's not good. I know it's not from three. To be an effective two guard in the NBA, you got to shoot somewhere between 45 and 48%. From three, you got to shoot somewhere between 38 and 43%. You got to shoot over 80 from from the free throw line. I'm going to give you his turnovers. I think were up a little bit last year, but look at Dante DiVincenzo's numbers. Look at Dante's numbers. If you're up around 40% from three, you're going to make a lot of money in this league because there's not many of those guys out there. There really isn't. Young West, John Stockton and Malone torched the Warriors for so many years. Yeah, they did. Key says Penn State, 3 straight losses. Yeah, you know, I don't have a problem with them firing James Franklin. His time in Happy Valley had probably come to an end. And I'm going to tell you why. He couldn't really beat Ohio State. He couldn't beat Michigan. And now Kurt Cignetti at Indiana is about to leapfrog Penn State in the hierarchy of the Big Ten. You know, people at that university were ready to jump off ledges to think that the Indiana Hoosiers was going to be more prominent than Penn State. The other thing is, James Franklin has fired a lot of people. He's fired defensive coordinators, he's fired offensive coordinators, and he hasn't gotten it done. Now, a $49 million consolation prize is not that bad. But he's done well. For people who want to make his record out to be shameful or abysmal at Penn State, you're out of your mind. And getting rid of him might be the worst thing that you could ever do. I said a couple of weeks ago, Drew Aller throws the ball into the hands of the Oregon player, and Franklin gets blamed for that. Come on. Think about Villanova winning the national championship when the kid, Chris? I don't remember Chris's last name. But they designed the play. The young man shoots the three-pointer at the buzzer. It goes in. Jay Wright is the greatest coach in the world. Suppose he missed. I think the score might have been tied, so maybe they went to overtime. But you understand my point. Players make plays. As a coach, your responsibility is to put your players in the best position to succeed. That's your only job. Fans are delusional. You know what happened? Some really rich alumni at Penn State said, I don't care how much I got to pay to get rid of this guy. Get rid of him. And he was gone. Okay. That's why coaches make all that money, because you have delusional fans. You have people who have influence and power, more money than they will ever need, and they want to live vicariously through 18 to 22-year-olds. Okay, fine. Franklin's going to be just fine. He'll probably get a nice, cushy TV job, still make his money. Chartered flights to game days, to games. He probably tired. $49 million? Come on. What's going to be interesting is who Penn State goes after. Will it be John Gruden? Will anybody have the rocks to hire John Gruden? That's what I want to see. I personally want to see John Gruden coaching football again. I do. I want to see it. If not in the NFL, high major football. When you think of John Gruden's allegiance to Ohio, the close proximity from Pennsylvania to Ohio, Florida might feel that they're a little too classy to go down that road. But Billy Napier, he's not long for Florida. So there's gonna be some interesting openings coming up. I love college football, by the way. Now, Dave, you said Pod shot 43% from three. I would ask you this question. What did Pod shoot from three in the series against Minnesota when they guard you? I think it's a private conversation. Jake Bencho. Who's that? Garrett would be happy in red and gold. I don't know. Okay. Keith says Indiana beat up Oregon. And I heard Indiana quarterback is a Cal former. Yeah, he is. Mendoza. I saw him last year. The one game that I go out to Cal every year, I went last year and I saw Mendoza light up Miami on a Saturday night. They bungled that game and ultimately lost. But this kid Mendoza, a former Cal quarterback, is legit. And now he is Indiana's quarterback, allegedly for about $3 million a year. Cal supposedly thought they had a deal for $1 million to $1.5 million. And then supposedly Indiana came in the picture and offered a lot more money. He was like, see ya. I'm out of here. Key says the Eagles need to ask Gruden to take over play calling duties. Maybe A.J. Brown will be happy again. What a soap opera in Philly. Now, I'm asking you a question. Is John Gruden working in the NFL now? Because there was some talk about him potentially being hired by Detroit because of his relationship with Dan Campbell. Is he employed right now or no? Because I mean, particularly during this political climate, I mean, are any of these institutions really going to get hurt or look bad by hiring John Gruden at this point? No, I don't think so. And if it's really about feelings between he and the NFL commissioner, I mean, I think you need to get over your feelings. You know, if somebody wants to hire John Gruden, I think they should be able to hire him. If no one wants to hire him, that's fine. But if somebody wants to hire John Gruden, they should hire him. Vicky, I totally agree with you. That rope is short. Michigan is going to be looking for a new coach. No question about it. A lot of these coaches take these jobs, you know, because they think that's what they want. But these jobs require for you to walk through fire rings, you know, with no protection. You got to walk through fire. Michigan should not be getting blowed out by USC. The number one quarterback in the country who you're paying a gang of money, this is the guy who they had to have in the offseason, and you're getting bolt. What's that called? I don't know the analogy. You're getting beat down by USC? That's not going to stand. SGA, thank you. His name is Chris Jenkins. Was a player I was referencing when Villanova won a national championship, I believe, against North Carolina. He had a big shot. Last second shot, won a national championship. And the coach was rewarded greatly for that. The coach didn't shoot the ball. He called a play. It was a good play. But Chris Jenkins made the shot. Keys, Chris Jenkins is on YouTube, is he? Well, we kind of went down a rabbit hole, which is okay. Okay, okay. All right. Gruden is on YouTube. I mean, listen, John Gruden is one of those guys that if you love football and you want to learn about football, you'll hang off his every word because he knows football. And he's a good storyteller, and he's animated, and he's entertaining. Yeah. No. I haven't seen his show. Somebody send me the address. I want to check it out. I should see, it's probably some iteration of what he should do on ESPN, those quarterback shows. He's really good at that. Those training quarterback shows. I really love that stuff. I wanted to talk briefly about LeBron. LeBron's not going to be available at the start of the year. Okay. Is it surprising that a 40-year-old player is experiencing sciatica in his hips? No. Find me a 40-year-old man or woman who has an experience, who is an athlete, or maybe just a regular person. Find me a 40-year-old man or woman athlete who has not experienced some sciatica in their hips and on the side of their legs. Everybody has. I've been in NBA locker rooms. Let me tell you something. They have remedies to deal with pain. You don't take time off and get better from sciatica at age 40. It doesn't happen. So for the rest of LeBron's career, he's going to deal with some form of discomfort. At what level and to what extent, I don't know. But no one at his age is going to be pain-free. It doesn't work that way. Arthritis starting to seep in. What I think is, I don't think LeBron's jaking it. He's never cheated the game. But what I think is, he's like, you know what? Do you really want to pass the team over to Luka? Then go ahead. If you don't think I have a future with this team, okay, fine. So why should I be running out there in my last year or not feeling at my best when you have no investment in me? Because the tea leaves said that LeBron was open to maybe signing an extension, and the Lakers were like, no, we don't want any part of that. If that happened, I don't think he was too happy about that. Now, pie in the sky to me, if LeBron could do it with zero ramifications, I think he would love to play for the Golden State Warriors. To really culminate, to finish his career, I think he would love to play for the Golden State Warriors. I don't see a scenario how it could happen, but I think LeBron would love to play for the Warriors. I think Steve Kerr would love to coach LeBron. I believe that LeBron James is Steve Kerr's second, the number 2 best player to coach in his career. I believe that. Steph is number 1. I think LeBron is number 2. Based on my observations of LeBron playing on the Olympic team, Kerr didn't have to say one word to LeBron. LeBron did everything that Kerr wanted him to do, and he did it at such a high level. I think Draymond and Kevin Durant are probably tied for number 3. But Steve Kerr loves coaching LeBron. Maybe in another world it'll happen. I don't see it happening, but I know that, I don't know. I think Steve Kerr would like to coach him. It'd be fun to watch, I tell you that. Key says, is DeAndre Ayton primed for a huge year playing next to two superstars? No. 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 DeAndre Ayton does not love basketball. As strange as that might sound. I mean, come on, man. No, he don't love basketball. Does DeAndre Ayton play like he loves basketball? It's sad because he's gonna wake up one day in a not too distant future and his back is gonna hurt for no reason. This dude, the #1 high school player in the country, top pick, should be a Hall of Famer. He's never been all NBA. He's never been all defense, nothing. He basically was cut from the Portland Trail Blazers. It makes me sad. They have that much talent and not love basketball. TG says, Frank, love this show. Really bummed about won or loss. Yeah, I am too. If anybody can overcome this, it's Fred Warner. That's why athletes get paid, because they get hurt. Football's a tough way to make a living, man. Noel says, let me hear your top 5 players of all time. Oh, wow. Okay. George, #1. In no particular order. Jordan, LeBron, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, and I gotta put Kobe there. Magic, Kobe, LeBron, Michael, and Jabbar. Yeah. It's awesome that we have so many players that we can't really, top 10 is actually better, I think, for me. These are players that I've seen play. So, yeah. I've seen all those players. Does Cat love basketball? Not my vision of basketball. He doesn't love. I think he loves cat ball. I think whatever his vision of basketball is, he loves that vision. That's not my vision. So my vision of basketball, no, I don't think Cat loves that. Absolutely not. Fosse. LeBron on the Warriors would be a guaranteed championship. I don't see Lakers making that movie without getting JK in return. Need something to help Luka. They can have JK. You think the Warriors wouldn't trade Jonathan Kuminga for LeBron? What? They can have Kuminga. They can have Moody. They would probably like to keep Moody, sit in Buddy Hield. I mean, listen, don't be surprised. And I'm gonna tell you what would be funny. It would be a LeBron and Bronny deal. Bronny would be in that package. Bronny would be on the Warriors too. That would be amazing. That would really be amazing. Key says, Anton loves to shoot open mid-range jumpers and nothing else. No one said he doesn't have talent. No Shaq in the top 5. No, nope. Shaq's never made an all-defensive team. I can't, no. If it wasn't for Robert Horry, the Sacramento Kings would have beat the Lakers. That Sacramento Kings team in 2002 and 3, I believe, was the best team in NBA history never to win a championship. Vlade Divac, Chris Webber, Peja Stojakovic, Mike Bibby, and Doug Christie. That was a great team. With that bench, I would love to see that Sacramento King against the Warriors. I mean, listen, for those of you who have not seen prime Mike Bibby was a problem. Chris Webber, what? Prime Chris Webber would dominate in this era of basketball like he did even in that era. Chris Webber shot threes. He blocked shots. He averaged over 10 rebounds a game. He was a better passer. Well, he was he was just as good a passer as Draymond Green. Just as good. Vlade Divac, another great passer, mid-range shooter, 7'1", decent defender. That Sacramento Kings team was crazy. Vicky, I can't put Steph in my top 5. I love Steph. Steph is in his own category. But Steph over Magic Johnson, no way. No. And I mean, I get it. I mean, that's why we love basketball, and it's from eras. For those who did not get a chance to see Magic play live, it's just one of those things. Maybe AI can, I don't know, put it in a time warp, and we'll get a realistic version of what Magic Johnson's impact was on basketball. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's how good Magic was. Remember that Western Conference final against the Lakers? Yeah. Was that crazy or what? Was that Sacramento Kings team awesome? Fossey, my top 5. MJ, Kareem, Bron, Steph, Magic. Steph surpassed Kobe to me. Okay. There's no debate. With Dunleavy as coach, why? Why Dunleavy? You joking? Frantic Rage says his top 5: Jordan, Steph, Kobe, Magic, and Shaq. Not mad at that. Shaq might be, well, I can't even say Shaq was the most dominant player of all time. How could I put Shaq over Wilt Chamberlain? Wilt Chamberlain is the best. Well, I think I'm going to say Wilt Chamberlain was the best athlete ever to play center in the history of basketball. Wilt Chamberlain? Do you see Wilt Chamberlain? Look at those little fuzzy little screens. Wilt Chamberlain was that dude from Philly. Rock. Wilt Chamberlain probably ran like a 4.6 40. He was one of the greatest volleyball players in the world once he stopped playing basketball. Unbelievable. Chris Webber reminds me of KD. I think KD is better, but Webber was wonderful. KD's a better offensive player. They kind of, both of them are great. And I mean, Webb was awesome. When Webber finally got to Sacramento and he got it right, he was awesome. Kings got robbed, just like the Raiders with the tuck rule. Oh my God. That bothers me so much. Still to this day. Woodpit 420. Mike Dunleavy Sr. was the coach for the Blazers. What significance does that have? Was that the Blazers team when the Lakers beat them that year? Was he coaching Portland then? I remember interviewing Brian Shaw on that particular Sunday. I was hosting the show and I interviewed Brian Shaw. You know, I had somebody who had B. Shaw's number. And B. Shaw had like 3 or 4 threes on that particular night. I remember B. Shaw calling in. That was one of my greatest moments in radio. It was awesome. Webber pre-knee injury was something. Oh, no question. And Webb, Webb probably wasted 3 or 4 years of his career just being young and doing stuff, and but when he got sacked, he got serious about basketball, and it was special. It was really special. Chris Webber was a big man. Chris Webber was taught how to be a big man. Chris Webber's jump hook was devastating. 6'10" with long arms, humongous hands, and his jump hook basically couldn't stop it. Couldn't stop his jump hook. So, Rasheed Wallace is another player that a lot of folks don't talk about or don't mention. He's a champion. Rasheed Wallace will go crazy in this era. Rasheed Wallace played kind of like Wemby in a lot of ways. He wasn't as fluid as Wemby, but he could do a lot of the same things that Wemby actually could do. Any thoughts on Philly's pitcher throwing the wrong base? It reminded me of Chris Webber calling timeout with none left for the championship. You mean the guy who threw home as opposed to throwing the first? Yeah, I mean, that was unfortunate. That was a bad decision. His catcher was telling him where to throw the ball. He didn't listen. So I don't understand that. Weber making that mistake. He was a freshman or sophomore. He was a young kid, Ironically, he wasn't the first player to make a mistake in a crucial situation. Fred Brown, the guard of Georgetown, made a similar mistake throwing the ball to James Worthy of North Carolina, and that ruined Georgetown's opportunity to win that particular game. So, I go light on kids. I go really light on kids. I don't badger kids because they're not pros, but that was an unfortunate moment for Chris Webber. Woodpit says, I always wonder how guys who are like 6'6" and above transition from big to other positions in college and pros, because they're the biggest guys on the team in high school. Yeah, you know what? That's why coaching really matters. If you are a coach and you have limited knowledge in a particular sport, then you might try your best, but you're going to hurt your players because you're going to limit your players. If you are a coach and you understand all facets of the game, you teach all facets of the game to your players, regardless of how tall or how short they are. It doesn't matter. You teach skill. Basketball is a skill game. And, it doesn't matter how tall you are. You should learn all facets of the game. The late, great Bill Walton, RIP, was one of those players who could do everything. Bill Walton did everything. He's an older guy and people maybe didn't get a chance to see him play. Bill Walton did everything. He was top flight defensive player, top flight rebounder, great passer, a better than average offensive player. At one point, Bill Walton was the best player in the world. Slightly better in that short period of time than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Why? He played for John Wooden. I can only imagine going to a UCLA practice and watching him teach basketball, teach every facet of the game. A guy that I learned the most from in football is Bill Parcells. And this is when I fell in love with coaching, and I knew that I had a future in coaching. This is what Bill Parcells said. Bill Parcells said, a good coach can coach any position in their field of study. Could I coach every position in football? No, I couldn't. I don't know enough about the inner workings of football to coach every position. In basketball, I can coach every position. I know what all 5 positions are supposed to do. Every one of them. I can coach centers. I can coach power forwards. I can coach small forwards. I can coach two guards. I can coach point guards. I know every position. That's coaching. The great coaches can coach every position. Why? Because they're watching the entire game. They're experiencing the entire game. So when you talk about guys 6'6" transitioning to smaller, guys who are 6'6", the biggest players in high school, transitioning to the next level and being able to play different positions, it's coaching. It's all coaching. And I'm gonna give you a name, R.I.P., a wonderful young man. He's no longer here. Malik. I can't think of Malik's name. He unfortunately passed away. Was a member of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Played at St. John's, and he died in a car crash, unfortunately. He played center in high school. I remember going to his high school games in the Bronx. And he made a smooth transition to small forward at St. John's and ultimately into the NBA. It's all coaching. The best coaches used to be in high school. That's no longer the case anymore. Fossey says Chuck, Timmy, KG, Mailman, and Dirk. I'm not mad at that. Your thoughts on Cardinals coach hitting his player after bonehead play, after bonehead fumble? Last week. I didn't like it. Didn't like it at all. I thought it was unprofessional. I thought that he let his emotions get the best of him. And, you can't do that, because if you are a player and you hit a coach, your career is over. Your career is over. You're done. So to see a coach in a leadership position like that, I understand emotions can get to the highest level. I get it. I would be more inclined to, do what the Cardinals did. Make him pay a consequence, but you got to be pretty jacked up. And I don't want to label this person because I don't know him, but that was totally unacceptable. Should never happen. Never. And as a player, if you get cut after that situation, you deserved it. You don't put your livelihood on the line by, trying to be like a showboat. You're going to drop the ball before you pass the end zone. I don't think he got cut. I'm glad he didn't. But Parcells would have cut him. Belichick, cut. Kevin McHale was a problem. There's no doubt about that. Brissett looked better than Murray for the Cardinals today. Murray's overrated. You know what? Kobe Brissett is a smart guy. He actually was recommended by Bill Parcells to the NFL. I forgot what school he went to in Florida, but Bill Parcells took a liking to him and really helped his career by telling Belichick about this kid. And he's no kid now. He's an NFL veteran. But Bill Parcells was influential in helping him navigate his career. I didn't watch the game. I actually think that Kyler Murray is a talented guy. I think he needs a new location. He needs to go somewhere else. It's not going to work there. Great call, Vicky. Vicky says, I learned more about football by listening to John Madden. Yes, I learned a lot too. They said Pippen grew 4 to 5 inches in college. He was 6'2" when he entered college. Yeah, I remember that story. Yeah. And thank you, TG. Malik Sealy is his name. Malik Sealy went to a high school in the Bronx called Talentine High School. And he was 6'7". He wasn't very big, but he was tall. And he played center and made a really, really nice transition from high school to college into the NBA because he had good coaching at Talent Time. All right, let me. This show has been so incredible that I missed some stuff. I want to give a really quick movie review. I'm gonna get out of here. The movie that I went to is called A House of Dynamite, and it was a movie that I had a level of awareness about it for over a couple of years because Angel Reese of the WNBA has a really short part in this movie. It's a Netflix movie, so it's going to be on Netflix pretty soon, but it's going to have a limited run in the theater. I saw it in the theater. It stars Idris Elba, Rebecca Ferguson, who I like. She's been in a lot of the Mission Impossible movies. Unfortunately, she died in the last one, so we probably won't see her anymore. Anthony Ramos of Hamilton fame, Greta Lee, and Jason Clarke has been in a lot of spy movies, Jason Bourne type movies as well. And I don't want to spoil anything, but basically A House of Dynamite is a movie about the day that none of us want to experience. Literally, it's about how essentially we lose control of the powerful weapons that we have been able to create on a worldwide level. And literally, the fate of humanity is in the hands of one person who has to make a decision about what to do. And it's riveting. It really is. Karen Bigelow, incredibly talented director and writer, wrote this movie. She's done a lot of controversial movies over the years. And she is very meticulous as a filmmaker, expert, and she told a really interesting story. I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to give anything away. The movie I thought was riveting, and it created a space for me to have a really deep conversation with my friend, and that was dope because I'm a storyteller. As you guys know, I've written a screenplay before, and I plan to write some more. So I love storytelling. I was thinking about this morning. I was like, well, if I could do anything I wanted to do, and I didn't have the pressure to get a scholarship, to do all of these things that I had to do to be successful in life, what would I have done? I love basketball, I love sports, but storytelling is something that I am really enthralled by. And for those who have an opportunity to do it in many different mediums, it's truly a pleasure to tell stories because everybody's story is important. The smallest little story that you think is it's not that important or it's not that interesting. It is very interesting. So, and I can still tell stories. It's awesome to be able to do that. We put some good shows together. I'm going to say this is one of the better ones. And we've set a standard that we are living up to. This show has been incredible. We've been on air for an hour and 45 minutes. Just me talking to you and you talking to me. It was awesome. It really was. 10:45 at night. I want to thank y'all. I don't know what time. Get this in there. Wood says Catherine Bigelow, excuse me. Catherine Bigelow directed. I usually like her movies. Yeah, this was a good one. Vicky says, thanks, Frank, for a good show. Appreciate you. Point Blank's one of my favorites. He says, great show as usual, Frank. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. All right. Let me do my thing and get out of here. Now, hit the like button. Subscribe to the show if you don't already subscribe. I assume anybody listening now is already a member of the show. But if you're not, subscribe to the show. We're on a quest to 1,000. My guy, Bebop Jones. How you doing, Bebop? I haven't talked to you in a while. Chaz Palmentier has a great podcast on YouTube. Yeah. I know who Chaz is. A Bronx Tale. Great movie. Love it. Love that movie. And I'll check out his podcast. I'm writing his name down right now so I don't spell it. Great filmmaker. Great actor, too. All right. Success and getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you as an individual don't do things to help other people make their lives better, as far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. Everybody enjoy your Monday. I know many of you might have it off. If not, it doesn't mean you still can't think about the significance of tomorrow's holiday. So think about that. Be safe out there. Have a great week. We are so close to the start of the NBA season. Shout out to Fred Warner and his recovery. And in the same breath, Niner fans, don't lose hope. I think the team's going to be okay. They can still have a successful season. And that is the essence of sports. All right. Good night, everybody. Peace.